Mass shootings and traffic. That's what you get when you're not in quarantine. That shit's trash.
Developing news out of Texas. At least one person is dead after a shooting at a warehouse in the town of Bryan.
Breaking news. Overnight, at least 2 people are dead after gunfire erupted on the ocean front in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Of the second mass shooting in less than a week in this country.
Shootings in Atlanta, killing at least 8 people.
Live?
Live.
Live. Welcome back to the Opinion Factory podcast, the podcast for free thinkers and challenge seekers.
Yes, sir.
I'm Khelil.
I'm Alex.
And all right, so lately I've been feeling like this, right? Let me know if I'm wrong. The pandemic, like I've been feeling like, you ever been in that breakup where, someone says, I need to be alone right now because I need to work on me.
Yeah,
I need to do what's best for me.
You
know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And they go, they do them, they improve their lives, their mental health, their physical health. And when they come back with you or when they come back with whoever else that they were with.
Back with who?
Back with you or
not me. We don't do that break shit over here.
You don't take breaks?
Let me go work on myself while I go mess with 5 other guys. I'm working on myself.
I think that's what they're going to be doing.
We don't do no breaks over here, bro.
You think that's what they're gonna be doing, bro?
I don't know, bro, but I ain't taking that chance, fam. We're taking a break. We broken up. And the story.
And you wouldn't get back with somebody you broke up with?
Nah.
Damn. All right. So for normal people, or I will say for other people, not like me and you, because I kind of agree with you. You take a break. You by yourself. You work on you. When you get back in your relationship with other people, you're better for it, and the relationship as a whole is better for it. And I feel like this pandemic is kind of a missed opportunity for that. Like it could have been that. It could have been we all isolated, quarantined, and we came back out. We knew how to act with each other. But now, as soon as Texas opened their shit back up, mass shooting. Dudes went somewhere and they died for no reason. And I feel like that has to do with the fact that, I don't know, Texas opened back up. Obviously, there's vaccines being administered a lot more freely now. So the pandemic might be winding down. And are we going to see a rise in mass shootings? I don't know. It's only been like, 2 or 3 this year? I don't know. But I'm afraid of what it might mean that as soon as things start winding down, we're right back to where we were before with all these mass shootings, bro.
I mean, fam, I don't think there's any way to stop it. We live in America. It's just the reality of the situation. There's been like 3 in this past. There was Virginia Beach. There was, I believe, Georgia. And then Texas, like you said. That's 3 in like the last month and a half or so.
I think so.
And then I think yesterday or the day before, I'm quoting about April 11th, I think there was another school shooting in Tennessee at a Tennessee high school. Not too many people died, but one person moved, one officer shot. There's still some details that need to come out about the school shooting. It wasn't like Newtown or Sandy Hook, but it's still like, high school campus school shooting over there.
How did I not hear about this? Well,
it just happened. It just happened. I think yesterday, 2 days ago. So, these things happen so often that they're not even like front page, news for a couple of weeks or so.
Which is a shame in itself that it's become so normalized in American psyche that like it takes something like an extra like brutal mass shooting and not just a mass shooting to make it to everyone's consciousness.
How many have we had over here, fam? It's sad to say as it is. It's like people are starting to get numb to it, man. People's just starting to be like, this is a regular cycle of life.
Right. And it came to the point where I was avoiding the news because it was either there was an unarmed Black person getting killed, there was some kids getting killed, or there was some partygoers, moviegoers, just people gathering around and getting killed for it. Yeah. And that's because I got kind of numb to it and I didn't like that, so I had to take a break from it.
I hear that, fam, but we can't say like this is a missed opportunity for me to get better. It's never like the case. Like, who are you trying to get better for? Like, who are the people I need to get better? I should say. Like, who are the people that need to get better during this quarantine? It's not the average person that needs to get better in the way that we're talking about. It's the people that's going to go kill somebody. Like, they're not going to be sitting down during this quarantine. Like, I got all this extra time now. Let me kick back and let me get rid of these thoughts I have. I just want to kill random people. But I don't think that's going to happen.
No. Not by itself, but it depends on what they're exposed to. And if they're in the bubble, they're probably not going to be exposed to the kind of help that they need. But as more people, I feel like that need to work on themselves than I feel like I might have thought about before. Point being, I think the shooting in Texas wasn't like this radicalized, like extremist, far right wing, far left wing, whatever. It was like gang violence. Like dudes just started shooting out between cars at a highway and kill somebody else in their car. You know what I mean? And even if the pandemic isn't the opportunity where they can sit down and say, why am I having these thoughts? Not that I can't act on it as impulsively as I could have been doing or as I was doing like last year. Now that I have to sit with these thoughts and feelings and it's unpleasant, what can I do to get rid of it? We can just deprive them of the opportunity to act on it. And that in itself could be helping a lot of people.
But how do you deprive people of the opportunity, fam? I don't think we're gonna come up with solutions.
With so few gatherings, no, I'm serious. With so few gatherings, there's been less mass shootings.
So don't gather ever again, fam.
Don't gather. You know what?
Hey, stay in your house so you don't get killed today, bro. You sound like you know what you sound like right now. You sound like that overprotective mom. What you sound like right now?
Oh, but if she had a point though, I would sound like her if she had a point.
Listen, bro. Anytime we take a step outside our house, we risk getting killed. It's a very small chance, and that very small chance has risen up a bit and at random. You know, it's not like it's one thing if someone dies in a car accident or like something very tragic happens, but like it's infuriating when it's a mass shoot. Like just kill that random by some freaking loser that wants to do that.
Or every like. When was it, like in 2019? The pandemic started in 2020. 2019. How many mass shootings? How many times you turn on the news just to hear this time Texas, this time Colorado, this time Washington?
I get that.
It was exhausting. And during this pandemic, I haven't heard about that shit that much.
100%, fam, because people have not been gathered to give that opportunity, fam.
And if it takes me being quarantined to get that, I would like.
There's so much life you're missing out on, though. Like I feel like we can't shut down our whole society because there's a couple nut jobs that have performance and killings.
But you have a point. That's valid. But if there's nothing else being done, and this is the only thing that's working so far, quote unquote, working so far.
Is it really working? Like, is it working kind of? But it's like everybody's livelihood is being destroyed by this. You have. People can't make money. People can't go to school. Kids can't go to school. Regular people can't go to work. You have so many things that have been. So many things have happened that have destroyed people's livelihoods. Whether it's their social livelihood, whether it's their work life, the ability to make money, whatever interactions they may have that make us human, fam, that has been destroyed by this pandemic.
Yes,
the regular human interaction has taken a step back because of everything that's going on, and also. The human psyche, like kids not being able to see their friends, not being able to socialize. Like imagine you go to a new school, like we were 60s at Latin Academy. You go to a new school, don't know anybody there, and your orientation is online. It's just a weird way to make. It's a very hard environment to make friends on, and on top of that, you don't have just your whole life you were in this environment. Now your whole thing has changed. It's just tough right now, man. And I understand that it's tough. I understand there's been some good things that come out of not being able to gather, fam. But we can't shut everything down. Like this isn't like the Boston Marathon bombing, right? Remember the Boston Marathon bombing?
Right.
Those two dudes bombed the marathon. The whole city was shut down for like what, 2 days? It probably wasn't even 2 days. It was just 1 day.
No, I think it was shorter than that. Yeah.
I think it might have just been 1 day, and they found the dude like literally the day after.
Wasn't it that night?
Yeah, it might be that night. You're right. They found him. I don't think it wasn't the marathon night. It was the day after the marathon.
It was?
All right. Yeah, it wasn't the marathon day. It was the day after. They found him that night. They shut the whole city down. Everything was shut. That's a manhunt looking for somebody. You can't do that for society. Like, oh, we're gonna do this as preemptive. People are not gonna buy that, man.
As like a preventative kind of thing?
Yeah, we're not doing that.
So you're right. Livelihoods have been destroyed, and we have to weigh. Well, I'm weighing in my mind livelihoods and lives, and which one do I value more? And personally, I value lives more. And if I have to stick a thorn in your livelihood, well, that's to put it very mildly, like to really fuck up your life. If I have to do that to give you and your children and your loved ones a better chance at just having a life in general, I would rather do that. And that's the same mentality as that mom, that overprotective mom. Even if you hate me, you're gonna be safe, you're gonna be healthy, and you're gonna live to see another day. And isn't at the end of the day, isn't that what's more important?
You know, to see another day, but you want house arrest again? That's what it sounds like right
Would
now.
you rather be dead though? Or have your sister killed?
I
Or have your
understand.
child killed?
I get that, but the chances are still so low right now. It's like I feel like this would have to happen once every week to be like, all right, no one's going outside no more.
I
I
don't.
feel like I feel like it would have to happen so free. Like it hasn't happened as frequently where I can justify and say, you know what I miss about quarantine is no more like being stuck inside the house. So there was no more mass shootings. Like I can miss that, but I can't be like because it's didn't happen in quarantine. Everyone's quarantined again. You can't do that. We can't do that.
And here's the thing. Here's the other thing. It's not. So a lot of people's livelihoods have been destroyed. A lot of people are suffering right now because of the pandemic. It's real. It's terrible. And like I said, like I wish like this was a missed opportunity. I wish the government, the U.S. government, would have handled the pandemic in a way that people weren't really suffering as they are right now. Like I feel like a lot of that could have been avoided, right? But in reality, that's what's going on. People are suffering, and as a trade-off to that, this group of people suffering, that group, that same group, or another group of people will live, right? And so have you ever heard the story of the city of Omelas, or it's called Those Who Walk Away from Omelas?
Nah.
It was written by this American philosopher like in the 70s. And short story short, there existed like this city called Omelas, right? And every day there is like the first day of summer. It's like a festival, like everyone's happy and jubilant and like there's no suffering. And it's like imagine the happiest possible day like at a fair or at a festival as you can. And that's Omelas every single day, right? Every day. You get there, you're enjoying it, the years go by, and you find out that in order for Omelas to be this way, there's this one child locked in this deep, dark, filthy room, and that child has to stay there. And no one can ever do any act of kindness towards this child, good, like big or small, because once they do, the whole happiness thing crumbles and Omelas is no more, right? And so there's this person suffering, but in exchange for that, there's these people given the opportunity to have these great things. And so there's some people who find out about this and they walk away, and there's some people who find out about it and they stay, right? In this case, we don't have the opportunity to walk away or to stay. Like we're here, well, you know. But what would you do in that situation?
I'd probably walk away. You know, I understand like one person versus the greater good of society. I mean,
Or well, actually, there's a third option, right? Do something kind for the child, make the child happy at the expense of everyone else. That's an option.
that feels wrong too, though.
And just to be clear, we are in fact kind of living in Omelas right now. Like just to have the phone that we have right now, there's children in factories across the seas, like utterly miserable, just so that we can have these luxuries.
Very true. Very true. But the globe is so interconnected and so many things are out of my control. It's like, can I really operate right now in my day-to-day life without having a phone? It'd be very hard.
You can get an ethically sourced phone, I'm sure. I'm sure that an ethically sourced phone, like a phone that wasn't made in a sweatshop or whatever.
Of course. I mean,
I'm sure.
I don't know of any.
I don't know of any either. That says something about us. But
I imagine the price would be in the several thousands.
you think it would be more expensive if it's? Well, yeah, it's more expensive to produce. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, so for things that aren't in my control, I probably won't be able to afford that phone. I understand what you're saying.
There's already a group of people suffering to make our lives possible. But now when it comes to us suffering to make other people's lives possible, are we unwilling to do that?
I understand what you're saying right now. This is an analogy I can get down with. I'll get down, but my thing is like, if we're suffering, hypothetically, we can't really do anything about it. there's not really a scenario that we can apply. It's like, okay, we shut everything down. Like that dude that killed people in Georgia, I think he just pulled up some random house, just killed that
Yeah,
family.
that Phillip,
David Phillips, I think, the ex-football player.
yeah,
He just pulled up some random house and just killed that family. Like that's a mass shooting, not in the ways that we like. You don't think these mass shooters will get more, for lack of a better word, creative during this
No,
quarantine?
bro. So here's the thing, and this is like a big counter argument to my argument that I found. Like I found it while I was thinking about this, right? So I was like, during this pandemic, obviously mass shootings have gone down, and I haven't heard about ISIS or Al Qaeda or the Taliban in I don't know how long. So terrorism must have gone down too, right? No, actually not. And so even as we're saying, like mass shootings have gone down in 2020, like in 2019, according to Statista.com, there was like 10 mass shootings in 2019, right? In 2020, there was just 2. We're thinking great. But in 2020, there were so many more homicides than average. Like gun violence skyrocketed in 2020, not mass shootings, but just gun violence in general. And so there's been more individual homicides rather than mass shootings. Gun sales have gone up, homicides have gone up during the pandemic, all that stuff.
People are suffering, man. I'm not justifying murder. I'm not justifying murder at all. Don't get that twisted. But you got people suffering like in the ways that they are. It's just gonna be there's gonna be some negative ramifications that come out of this. That's why I said we can't keep everything closed, man.
Exactly. And I was looking at the terrorism aspect of it too. There was a document that I read. It was a report, I think, by the UN. And shit's kind of crazy. It's like, even though they don't have the opportunity to like act in the real world anymore, like kill people, their presence online have grown so much they began radicalizing and recruiting a lot more people, because with people inside and in their bubble, and they're grieved by the socioeconomic like conditions, they're so much more easier to recruit into like extreme groups that they're getting taken by the droves, bro. And with kids from school in those countries, like in Africa and like Southeast Asia and stuff like that, those kids are getting forcibly like added to like armed militias. Like they come to the kids' house like, yo, you gotta come right now, take this gun, or I'm gonna kill you and your family.
I didn't even think about that.
Bro, that report, there's 8 pages to it. It's not that long, but that shit is terrifying. What's happening because of COVID-19? Like these dudes are really using it to increase their recruitment, the radicalization of people, and I feel like it's working. They even offer rent. They say, I'll pay your bills if you join our group. And who's not going to do that if there's no other option?
That is facts. That is facts, though. You know, if the government steps in and, you know, the government's not known to do that anywhere around the world, just help their people out, like, especially not here. If they got ahead of this and had people rents paid off, and not even if paid off is not the word, but they just delayed the payment process, you know, just added down the road and made mortgages not get what's the word I'm looking for? Like get collected right now. Right. That could work out if, you know, kick the can down the road about when payments need to happen. Unfortunately, government's not like that, but I mean, I like the no mass shooting thing, bro. There's give and take with everything, though. I mean, unfortunately, we gotta get used to this, back to this being a part of regular life, which is like crazy to think about. Like,
right.
You might pop up to a movie theater and someone might just knock you off for no reason.
Would you? Oh man, see, I keep coming, like, even with all this said, right? And obviously, the state of terrorism right now, I don't know what dudes are gonna do about that, right? Probably gonna be his own episode. Like that's just terrifying. But even with all that, in my vicinity, in my bubble, so to speak, people have been safer, from what I can perceive.
Oh, yes. Like people probably in your life or life around you feel like it's safer because you can't really step outside.
They can't step outside.
100% agree, but think about this though. You have an increase in homicides and you have an increase in like COVID deaths, right? Is it really that much safer than before? You know, like you get this virus and somebody dies, is that much safer? You have over 500,000 people dead in the U.S. Is it that much safer than what it was before when you just had 10 mass shootings a year? You know, it's like just what type of deaths? What type of deaths are we talking about here? We're talking about like gun violent deaths, or just like I want to say an unavoidable deaths, right? Not like the chronic illness, not like you get lung cancer from smoking like for 20 years, like like the shit that you can avoid, right? Those deaths, like I need to categorize those deaths, right? You're talking about like health related deaths, and we're talking about like homicide and violence deaths, right? We have less violent deaths. Well, we actually have. What are the numbers behind this? Actually, I need to look this up.
I found the report on something called fastcompany.com.
Okay.
And NBC News also said gun violence grows during the pandemic. I don't have the numbers. I don't have the numbers exactly. I think I saw something like 4,000 more homicides. I could be wrong on that. That's the only number that.
All right. So that's perfect. We'll run with this number for now. We'll fact check it if it's wrong. 4,000 more homicides versus 8 more mass shootings. I mean, like the fact we got to choose is kind of crazy, but this is America. I'll take the more mass shootings versus the crazy homicide rate, fam.
That's hard.
Like, bro, we live in Boston. Somebody's grandma just died the other day and got shot.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy, but like it's a sad part of the state of the world that we live in. We can't keep everything cut. Fam.
Homicides might stay the same though.
I don't think so.
We're just gonna get like homicides and mass shooting now.
I think it might go down. I believe it might go down. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure homicide will go down. When the weather gets warmer, there is more homicide.
Yeah, well, that's true, for sure.
But I do think the homicide rate will go down. The mass shootings might go up, but like when mass shootings happen, it's like it's the randomness of it. You know, when homicides happen,
there's also
not to justify homicide, but there's usually like connected parties.
Yeah.
Not saying it's right or wrong. A lot of it's gang related. A lot of it's like, you know, you cross somebody wrong. Just not things you can be killed over, but like we have a far less chance of dying victim to a random homicide than a mass murder. You know,
we have a far smaller chance of dying to a homicide than a mass murder.
Yeah, I would think.
Like in these current conditions.
Like, yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? So. Yeah. I'll just want to
have a greater chance of dying to a homicide during the pandemic than a mass shooting.
Let me make sure I'm getting my words right. The homicide rate the way it is right now, and the mass murder rate the way it is right now. Like, what would I prefer as living in society? I would prefer for, as fucked up as it sounds, is for the homicide rate to be to be where it is right now, and just have more mass murders. If that makes sense. Because if you have 4,000 more homicides, right, and how many people die from a mass murder? Like probably like 10 to 20.
Right.
That's 200 versus 4,000, fam. Like that's those numbers are kind of crazy.
Yeah, but
like I might be more likely to die from a mass murder. Say again.
Like random people. That's the thing.
I get that. It's infuriating, and there's no way to stop it. But like, if you have to choose from, like, if the homicide rate goes up, right, and especially if you live in the city, then I feel like I would have a higher chance of just getting like driving down the street, somebody's in a shootout, and I get hit, than the mass murder. I still feel like the homicide chance is higher. So I'd rather have the homicide rate like stay where it is or go lower, and like be the mass murders go back to normal. As fucked up as it sounds.
I prefer that too.
Like as fucked up as it sounds.
Like when they put it that way, I would prefer that too.
Like, if I'm walking down the street in my neighborhood and the homicide rate is the way it is right now, like I do not feel a great chance of dying. Like I never don't want to die from mass murder. At least for my psyche, I'm not gonna have the paranoia.
But that's the result of the quarantine, though. The homicides rate have gone up.
Yeah, so if we close quarantine, fam, if quarantine's over, homicide rate goes back down,
and mass murders go back up, which is back to where we don't want to be.
We don't want to be there, but I feel like personally, I would have less fear of just dying randomly.
When the quarantine is over?
Yeah.
Because your chance of dying randomly goes up when the quarantine is over.
I feel like I'm more likely to die from like a homicide related incident around me than a mass murder thing. Because the chances are still small. Like 10 a year is still small.
I know it's still
small, fam.
I know it's small, but is the randomness of it all? Is the fact that it's like
someone's grandmother got shot and killed, fam, sitting on her porch. Like that, I feel like that could be me, or that could be someone I know. Like I like sitting on my porch too, bro. I feel like that can happen to me.
I remember it was like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, where there was like a string of like 2 or 3 summers where every summer someone you knew got murdered.
It's like that in the city, man. It's tough. It is tough. It's the one thing I hate about summer. Summer people just act up, don't know how to act when the weather gets warm. It's unfortunate.
So put them inside till they know how to act. That's what I'm saying.
They're never gonna know how to act, fam. They're never gonna know how to act.
If they don't know how to act, don't give them any room to act. Deprive them of the. That's the same.
You can't tell, but all the other people, bro, fam. It's like punishing 99 people for one bad person, fam. It's like it just especially like the 99 people. It's not like a job or like a whatever. It's just like just regular people living their life. It's not like 99 cops and like one horrendous cop and the other cops are fighting to keep that cop here. It's not like one of these situations, right? Where you have like a doctor that's just killing people. All other doctors don't say anything. It's not like that situation. It's
right.
Like you have just 100 people in the hospital minding their 99 people in the hospital minding their business, and there's just one dude causing terror. Yeah.
But
I don't know.
The punishment is not the same though. Like what we're saving them from is not the same as what we're inflicting upon them. So I feel like that has to be weighed too. Like I would, wishful thinking here, like I'm not in a situation, so this is what I would say, not being in a situation, but I would deprive myself and like people I know, like friends, family, of like luxuries if it meant saving the life of someone that I didn't know.
What do you call it? So luxury is like going out to a restaurant.
Luxury is like paying rent.
Oh man, I wish I was a luxury fan. I wish. But yeah, bro, it just sounds like all right. You can never go to the movies again. You can never go to you can never go get food at a restaurant again. Like it just.
But I was gonna say this is the same kind of argument that we're using, or the people who are in favor of gun control are using, right? We kind of like, you're not punishing them, but you're depriving like non-extreme, non-murderers of their very fun, very large magazines just because of this asshole who decided to shoot up a school.
I mean, I get that. So there's a couple things about guns, fam. Guns is in the Constitution, it's in the Bill of Rights, right? The first 10 is like Bill of Rights. So you got the Second Amendment, right to bear arms. So when you infringe on gun rights, people will be like, no matter what happens, like it's not happening.
It's not. So there's laws around guns already. Like you have to be a certain age. You have to get this. Like they're already banned. Like the fully automatic ones are already banned, right?
Yeah, when you have to be, but it's not. But here's the thing that's different though. When you're arguing about the age to legally own one versus if you can legally own one, it's a whole different conversation. But people will listen to you on both sides if I need to think of, like, what age can a person be responsible enough to own a gun versus can this person ever own a gun where it's already been stated in the Constitution that you can own a gun. So like I just like, bro, it's a lot easier to give something to people to give something to somebody than it is to take away. So now that they already have that, you can be like, oh, I'm taking this back. It's like, no, I'm not. You're not taking my shit.
So I get it. I want the gun control discussion, like this is its own episode, but my point being that the argument that I feel like people are making for gun control is the same type of argument that I'm making here, even though the consequences of my argument are a lot more dire, right? When you have like hundreds of thousands, millions of people's livelihoods being destroyed, rather than just this gun community, livelihoods being like hindered. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's true.
But it's still the same idea that I'm trying to employ here. And it's just like, I get what you're saying, where you're saying like the price of what I'm proposing is just way too high. Like, and I in my heart of hearts, I agree, but I'm just tired of these mass shootings.
I hear what you're saying, bro. Like, I remember, it's always funny. Like, I honestly don't remember like what exactly where I was or like the gravity of the moment when 9/11 happened. But I always remember where I was when Sandy Hook happened. I have vivid memories of where I was when Sandy Hook happened. Right,
Yeah.
that was devastating to me. It's just unfortunately I think it's gonna go back up, and I don't know what we can do about it. But we can't close everything down. That's why I know we can't do that.
The only thing that's been working so far, quote unquote.
It is the only thing that's been working for him. Like it is the only thing that's been working. But like
That's why I'm continue it, even though it's not the best, not nowhere near the best solution for it. Is what I've seen. Is what I'm inclined to go with.
We gotta
right
get
now.
back to life, man. And even if life means becoming
numb, go and work on themselves. They broke up. We broke up with each other, but we never worked on ourselves. So what are we gonna do when we get back together? Now it's gonna be the same old shit.
The people who need to work on themselves aren't listening to this shit, man. They're not the ones. They're not the ones that be like, yo, I need to work on myself. I'm thinking about killing people. Let me go. Like get rid of these styles. It's not happening. You're trying to get in the mind of like a serial killer or like a rapist or just like a person that's kind of beyond the normal depths of human perception, man, and human understanding.
Rehabilitation.
Yeah.
You believe that some people are beyond rehabilitation?
Of course. You rape 5 kids, you think I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, no, we can come back into society, yeah, we can work on you, yeah, nah, bro, it's not happening. It's not happening. So
that's not funny.
I
know what you mean.
There's people we cannot save, and it's unfortunate these people we cannot save are causing so much harm. But like you said, it's at random, bro. We don't know when the next one's happening. Like the only thing we can do is try to put like some preventive measures in there, but society will never be perfect. No matter where you live, society will never be perfect. There will always be people that are at the low end of the spectrum. Yeah, it's never like the richest person that goes out and commits the mass murder. Like it's never like somebody that's well off or whatever. So no matter what society you live in, there'll be poor people, there'll be rich people, there'll be people that have been oppressed and people that are oppressors.
And the number of people who can't be saved are actually growing because of this pandemic. People are becoming more and more, like they have more and more grievances against the government, against society in general, and they're joining these terrorist organizations in droves, and they feel like it's right. And once they get there, it's hard to come out.
It is hard to come out. Like,
how do you unradicalize someone? I don't know.
There's been a lot of studies when people have talked about that been in terrorist organizations that they found themselves how they got there and how they got out. It's tough, but we don't have the answers for it. So all we can do is talk about trade-offs. It's been a great thing in quarantine. One thing that happened in quarantine that I did not miss was mass shootings. But as quarantine ends, we have to unfortunately but anticipate that there'll be more in the future. It's just a sad reality to bring it.
Mass shootings and traffic. That's what you get when you're not in quarantine. That shit's trash.
Also, hey man.
Mass shootings and traffic just so I can go to Fridays?
Go to Vincent's, bro. Go to Vincent's, man.
I would give that up, man. No traffic, less mass shootings, I would give that up. But that's just me.
Oh man. Anyways,
I get you. Let us know what you guys think. Opinion Factory Podcast. Do you believe that the trade-off of our life, our liberties, our livelihood is worth it if there's less mass shooting and there's less incidences of like violent terrorism, even if in the background there's like so much going on? Like, do you think it's worth it?
I think there's a famous quote from like Ben Franklin or somebody that says, "The man who's willing to give up liberty for safety deserves neither." I'm paraphrasing, but I think you heard a quote like that somewhere.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
I think it's Ben Franklin, but I'm not too sure. But
I kind of like Ben, right? I might take the time. I don't know. But I like people. I like my people alive. I like my friends alive. I like my family alive. I like my fellow countrymen alive.
I hear you, bro. Opinion Family Podcast on Apple, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you see a podcast. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. You can leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts, share with your friends, family, countrymen. We will see y'all
next week.